So what's in an English Oxford? And what does an English Oxford even mean? Why does anybody care where the shoe is made? They do. There's tradition, there's quality of materials, there's the tradition of craftsmanship, there's the skill set itself. There are a lot of reasons why people prefer to buy shoes that are made in different places, be it the United States, be it China, be it Vietnam, be it Italy, Romania, Budapest, France, Spain, or England. There are probably many, many more. Shoemaking is a tradition that is as old as people have been walking with coverings on their feet. And high quality shoes has really come a long way. And in England, they have a very, very fine bespoke making tradition that's still alive and thriving today. But we're not here to talk about bespoke shoes. We're here to talk about mid-range or high-end ready-to-wear shoes. And that's what these are today. We have 4 shoes. These are Wholecut Oxfords. And today we're simply going to look at these Wholecut Oxfords and determine which are my favorite. What's my favorite style? What's my favorite to wear? And what's my favorite overall? The idea is in this series, and there's going to be 3 videos, we're going to look at Wholecuts, we're going to look at round-lasted Oxfords, and then we're going to look at chisel-lasted Oxfords, and we're going to pick my favorite. And that's the idea. So here we go. Let's get started, and we're going to start with a very well-known brand of bespoke shoes, which is George Cleverley. Now, George Cleverley has their ready-to-wear lines made by 2 different factories. And this is a Kingsman brand, which is one of the George Cleverley brands. And if you don't believe me that Kingsman is a George Cleverley brand, what does that say there? Kingsman by George Cleverley. Now, this is suede. The lining on these are fantastic. The sole, as you can see, is fantastic. And this sole pattern, right, especially with this fiddleback waist, says to me that this was made in the Alfred Sargent shoe factory. Now, Alfred Sargent, which is now being operated under the brand Paul Sargent, was they were well known. They were making a number of lines of French shoes, and they're also making Alfred Sargent, and then they did private label or white label for a number of others, including Cleverley. Now, Cleverley also has some of their white labels, which have this sole on the bottom, which is, and it says George Cleverley there instead of Crockett and Jones. Okay, and this is the hand grade line of Crockett and Jones, and so that's kind of where they fit in quality. Now, Alfred Sargent's have hand grade. They have an exclusive line, and this particular shoe seems to fall somewhere in between. But a very, very nice shoe. George Cleverley is known for their square lasts, and the shoe is no exception. And what's exciting about this is that in a Wholecut, you really don't have a lot of adornment other than the last. The last, or the shape of the piece of wood that's underneath it when it's being made. It just creates a really cool look to the shoe, right? They have this rise here, this rise here. They have this squareness, and then if you look at it this way, it's a very subtle rounding to the toe. Okay? When a maker is shaping a toe, that is a whole part of the bespoke making process. They actually shape it with a piece of glass. It's very cool. And I had the fortune of being able to see some of that. Now, the other thing about this is the heels, and you'll see that they are slightly tapered, but this would not be considered a tapered heel. This would be considered a pitched heel. So pretty nice shaping on the heels, pretty nice fiddleback waist. And again, they have the nails instead of toe plates. So very cool look to the Cleverley. Now, I talked about Crockett and Jones before. This is the Crockett and Jones hand grade. It is also a factory made shoe, beautifully proportioned. Okay. The leather is very nice. Now this is black, one of my 2 black shoes. And it is just overall a nice solid shoe. Now, there's not a lot of adornments on a Wholecut, so mostly you look at the back seam, and it's kind of this reverse stitch, and then it has the little flap going over. Here on the Cleverley, you'll see that there's a row of stitches on either side, and then this flap, instead of rounded, is square. Yes, I know that it is a very small detail, but as I said before, they are very small details. Now, the waist on this is flat, okay, not as narrow. It is a, closed channel. Very nice looking shoe. Now, this has a medallion, or what they call a floating medallion, because it's not on a cap. And that is the only piece of adornment you usually see on Wholecuts. I only have 2 Wholecuts that have that, and it is interesting. Now, the next one I'm going to share with you is a Loke. Now, this is a Loke Parliament. Also has the plain stitch and the flap. And just a very, I don't have it laced right now, but just a very standard looking shoe with a great chiseled last. Now, you'll see this is round, and this has got a very high arches here. So if you look at the last on the Crockett and Jones, it has a nice sweep to it around the foot. Okay, so it'll look a little sleek, but it's not as high, and the edges are not as sharp. This has very sharp edges on the top here, so does this, and so does this last one. Okay? So, this is more of your round. Now, it is still a soft chisel, but it's more rounded than the others. And I think that that's, plain to see when you look at it this way. There's also a different shape here where it goes up a little at the toe, where this is a progressive down on the Cleverley. The Loke actually has a little bit of a sweep down, okay, almost like a hill. Not quite, but yeah, just a little bit of a hill here. And then lastly is the Foster & Son. And this, the shape is definitely, there's like a little hill and then a ledge. And then it has the two rises on either side that actually go back quite far into the shoe. So when you're standing far away, and I know that it's hard to look at from when I'm staring at the table, but if you look at the shoes on my feet, the Foster & Son, the Loke, and the Cleverley all look very, very sleek on my feet. Now, what's interesting is the Crockett and Jones doesn't really look as sleek, and I think it's because the waist is not as narrow, and so it has more of a chunky feel. Now, to put this in perspective, though, I once tried on a pair of Alan Edmonds Wholecuts and showed them to my wife, who was in the waiting room with me, and she said I couldn't buy them because they reminded her of clogs, which, I mean, a wooden clog like in Holland is definitely one piece of wood with drawings on it, but why a Wholecut would be reminiscent of that to her, I don't know. But she likes these, but she does say that they're just not as sleek as the other ones, and so I have to take her word on it. And the first shoe that Wholecut she allowed me to buy was these Lokes. So that is kind of where my Wholecut journey started, and is definitely a big part of how we're getting there. So anywho, now to choose my favorite on this, it's hard to do. There's definitely a quality difference between them. The Loke is the top of the line Loke, but still not remotely close to the Cleverley. The Cleverley, for all of its goodness, is not as well made a shoe as the Foster & Son. The Foster & Son is much, much better. And the Crockett and Jones is really at the Cleverley level, but I don't like the last as well. I like the last, but not as well. In fact, I probably have some buyer's remorse for going with the hand grade version of that and not just getting an Alex, which is on the same last as my Westbourne Adelaides. So because of that, I still like it, don't get me wrong, but because of that, I'm gonna have to eliminate it from my favorite list and just move it to the side. So we'll just take that one off the screen. And now we're looking at these three. If you judge it by color, I would never choose black. I might choose navy as my favorite just because it's different, but then again, I might do the same with suede. I do think that from a pure style standpoint, the tan suede, or what they call dark brown suede, even though it's not really dark brown, is more versatile in my wardrobe because I wear a lot of textured slacks, and I think the textured slacks goes really, really well with suede. And if I wore black suits and I wore really, really dark suits all the time, the navy would be better, right? But because I wear so much texture, flannel, tweed, that type of thing, I think the suede is actually better. So, you know, and I'm thinking about this as I go. I haven't made up my mind. This isn't scripted. I'm gonna say that my favorite among these three is the Cleverley. It's a very well-made shoe. It is a little bit of casual elegance. And I think that that's really what I like best about it. You know, if it was finishing details, it would definitely be the Foster & Son. If it was overall quality, it would be the Foster & Son. The Foster & Son is black, which, I mean, I needed black shoes too, right? But it's not my favorite or the most versatile color. And this is. And as a suede Wholecut, I can dress it down with a pair of jeans, which candidly on the other two is just a little bit hard. You know, khakis, chinos, jeans, big part of the casual wardrobe that we're all working in today. And, you know, black Wholecuts really go well with black, charcoal, or dark gray suits or dark blue suits. And they don't really go well with denim. So that's my thoughts for today. I'm choosing the suede Wholecut. Not that the look is bad. The look's not bad. It's a high quality shoe. Its finishing is not really quite there, but really, you know, if it was looks, I like them both. But really the functionality of the suede is just a one-up for me. And I do really like the details that were paid into this shoe very much. And therefore, from a Wholecut perspective, it is my suede George Cleverley, or Kingsman, or George Cleverley Merlin is the name of this Wholecut. So thanks for watching.